Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arinas Nadia and I'm from English department of Swadaya Gunungjati University and I'm from 1B class. In this video I'm gonna answer to the questions for final exam for English literature lesson. It is a figure of speech which made a comparison show similarities between two different things. Unlike metaphor, a similar draws resemblance, which help with the words like or is. Therefore, it is a direct comparison. For example, our soldiers are as brave as lions. And next is metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech which that makes an implicit, implied, or hidden comparison between two words that are unrelated but share some some similarities, some common similarities, or some common characteristics. For example, my brother was boiling angry. This means that my brother was really, really angry. And next is hyperbole. Hyperbole is a figure of speech which an author speaker purposely and obviously exaggerate to an extreme. It is used to emphasize or a way to making a description more creative and humorous. For example, she's going to die from embarrassment. So the speaker is using hyperbole to emphasize that how embarrassed she's going to feel. And next is personification. So personification is a figure of speech which a thing, an idea, or an animal is given human attributes. So the non-human objects are portrayed that we feel they have ability to act like human being. For example, the wind whispered through the dry grass. And the last is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia comes from Greek word. So onoma means name, poem means to make. So onomatopoeia literally means to make a name or sound. For example, like rumbling when you are feeling hungry and your stomach shows that sounds, or you hear a sounds like that from your stomach. And splash from the water, and woof from the dog or for the dog, meow for the cat, moo for the cow, and meh for the goat or sheep, and knock knock for when you knock the door. That's for number one. From my point of view, the poetry activities in a classroom it will be very, very fun, and it will help students to to have a lot of creativity, and they can try to make it with their own word, with their own creativity. So it will be really, really fun. And also the most important thing is, from this activity they will know a lot of things about poetry, and that's what make it fun. And also maybe it will help to express themselves, to express what they want to tell when they rarely talk to people. They are kind of person that hard to speak with everyone. So that really helps, and I think it will be really, really fun and effective for learning process. And that's also the activities that is not monotone. Are people who are involved in the story, can be major or minor, and static or dynamic. And next is plot. Plot is the order of the events that make up the story. The plot usually begins with an exposition, which introduces us to the character and the background of the story. Next comes a rising action, which involves conflicts that lead to conflict between characters. And after the rising action, we reach the climax, which is the turning point of the story. After the climax, there is a falling action, which leads to resolution of the conflicts. Next, there is point of view. Point of view. This refers to who tells the story and how they tell the story. How tells the story. The narrator can tell from the third person point of view, so meaning that they tell the story from the character think and see and do, but they're not part of the story. The third person narrator use the pronouns he, she, it. Now, if the first person narrator is telling the story, then they are telling the story from what they think and from what they do, and it's part of the story. And the first person narrator use the pronoun I. And next is after point of view, there is setting. This gives important information. We will know about where the story is taking place, when the story is taking place, and what environment this story is occurring in, and it gives us the most to guess what will happen in the story. And the last is theme. Theme is the central idea of the story, the moral lesson of the story is trying to tell, and it is message from opinion that about love, friendship, how good is family, and what else? Good versus evil, and also crime is bad, etc. So a fable is a short allegorical narrative which making a moral point. Traditionally means animals who speak and act like human beings. For example, si kancil. Folktale is traditionally story, usually anonymous, handed down orally. For example, fable, fairy tale, legend, etc. For example, and the example story is Malin Kundang. And the last is fairy tale. Fairy tale, there is one definition for this. So one definition is a children's story, a children's story about imaginary being, about fantasy, imaginary being, and land. For example, so the story for this is Cinderella. Opinion about drama activities in the class is very useful. It's very helpful to build confidence, to build the teamwork between the students, and to help the students find a way to solve the problem by themselves. And also, by working together, they will feel more empathize, and they will know what people think and what people feel, So from that they can use their brain, they can use their mind to solve the problem and anything else. So there are so many important things that they will learn from the drama activities in the class. So I agree with the questions that the drama activities in the class it will be useful for the students. The Globe Theatre was a theatre in London associated with William Shakespeare. It was built in 1599, associated by Shakespeare's playing company, the Lord Chamberlain's men. The land owned by Thomas Brand and inherited by his son Nicholas Brand and his grandson Sir Matthews Brand, and destroyed by fire on 1630 on 29th of September 1613. So the second Globe Theatre was built on the same site in 1614 and closed by an ordinance issued on 6th of September in 1642. Literacy refers to the ability of individual to read and write a certain language. This then can be an indicator of understanding that a person has of language. And literature entails all written works of language, such as novels, short story, poem, poetry, dramas, etc. What is peace? Close our ears and ignore people. Show them that we are equal. Forget the color of their skin. Forget how big or skinny they are. Forget the religion that they believe in. Because we don't know how they really are until we know them. Peace. What peace actually mean? When this world is still in chaos, when people still think and live with their old style and mindset, when people still live in crisis and being killed, but people keep silent about that. Peace when no one is fighting. Peace when crisis and racism is not happening. Peace when the unfair decision never happen again. We smile to each other. We never hate each other. And we live in harmony. That's what peace really are.